My mother is an a-hole and I have been collecting dirt on her for years. So my dear old mother has been my personal hell for as long as I remember. Starting from threatening to hit me with a bottle to trying to break down my door while screaming obscenities at me, to actually hitting me over the head with an umbrella and yelling at me when I cried. I was 11 by the way. But she blamed me for my sister's divorce. I was 6 at the time it happened, for years, left for 3 months without a warning, then acted entitled to my forgiveness when she came back. Thrown things at me, broke 3 TVs, and called me a myriad of names ranging from mild things like useless waste of space to an actual curse punishment. The worst thing is she acts like she's the best mom in existence around other people, complimenting me and stuff, and I can't have a support system because no one would believe me when I say she's awful. But I had an ace up my sleeve I kept for 2 years now. I secretly took videos and audios of every horrible moment and kept them in a safe folder. I had moments like the ones mentioned above and lots more of her talking damn about neighbors' friends, her own eldest child behind their back. Tonight, I'm packing for uni. By morning, the whole folder will reach multiple people, including my half-siblings, aunts, uncles, neighbors, her besties, etc. Bad luck, and worst day mother. You always said justice is better served cold.
When was the moment you realized that your friends are a-holes? She got a boyfriend and would let him listen to our phone calls and not tell me, even if I was crying about personal stuff that I would only ever tell her. Then they both started lying to me about my crush liking me back, forcing both him and me into awkward positions, telling everyone we liked each other so they'd play along, swapping places constantly to make us sit next to each other, pressuring him into giving me a lap dance, making him kiss the prettiest girl in the room, etc., and encouraged me to shoot my shot more and more. All the while they knew he didn't like me. He had told them both directly. One night I was crying on the phone cause I was so confused why my advances weren't working, and they just kept explaining it away, blaming some other bullshit reason and telling me to try again. The next day they told me they were laughing throughout the whole call, because I didn't get it and I was so upset. I should add I had no dating experience at all and nobody had ever liked me at this point.
What's the most messed up thing you've ever walked in on? I was at a party and a couple of hours in, everyone had turned up except one of the birthday girl's best friends. She eventually calls and says can she bring the guy she's met whose name is apparently Sketch. Half an hour later they turn up, pretty drunk. After about 15 minutes, we realize they have vanished upstairs. Birthday girl doesn't really want them fooling around in her bedroom but no one wants to walk in on them either. So we send the drunkest guy up to call them down. He toddles off upstairs and then about a minute later comes back into the living room looking pale and distraught. He sits down. We ask what happened. I went up and opened the door. And he was going down on her. And then he looked over at me. And I think he was a vampire. There was blood all over his mouth. So I left. Turned out they'd started fooling around. It became clear it was her time of the month but Sketch decided to power on through. We'd accidentally sent up the one person who, in a drunken haze, was not mentally equipped to deal with this at all. He looked broken for the rest of the night.
What's the best response to, Dad, I think I'm gay? In the 90s, when my girlfriend finally told her traditional Italian mom and grandma at 19, they sighed in unison and grandma said, "Oh thank baby Jesus, I was worried that I was going to have to tell you. I thought you were about to give me bad news. Don't scare me like that." My granny when my uncle came out, in the 70s. One of my friends from high school was gay, and when he came out to his family his dad literally didn't look up from his newspaper and told him his sister didn't need to tell him she was straight so why would he need to explain that he was gay? He's known him his whole life and already knew that.
My girlfriend called me beautiful and I've been fighting tears for 20 minutes. I'm an ugly dude. I just am. I stopped caring about it probably around the 10th grade so it's not like it's a deep insecurity for me so I don't know why I'm so moved. My girlfriend is gorgeous and I had always just assumed my looks were something she just chose to look past. That she thought I was just as unattractive as I and everyone else does. But, as she was leaving my apartment she pushes my hair back and says you're so beautiful, you remind me of a Greek sculpture and leaves. And now, I'm here typing this post feeling just a little pathetic.
4,000-word university assignment, got caught using ChatGPT. WTF do I do? I submitted a 4,000-word essay in December. Most of it was written with ChatGPT, and I reworded some bits and added in relevant academic references. I got an email today stating I have been found in violation of the student conduct of plagiarism and they returned my assignment stating it was written by a third-party tool. WTF do I do? If I get kicked out of university, I will be in £30,000 debt.
Teachers, what was the best smart-ass response from a student you have heard? I witnessed a rather sad one. In my chemistry class sophomore year one of my friends was going through some family issues, and his dad just left for a year or so. The kid was acting up in class and the teacher was like, "Do you want me to call your dad?" And he was like, "If he picks up tell him to come home soon." Not a teacher, but this happened in an upper-level French class where you can only speak French. If you speak English, the teacher scolds you in French. My friend walked in a few minutes late for a quiz, and wasn't allowed to take it. My friend looked at the teacher and said, in English, "That's bullcrap." The teacher looked back angrily and said, also in English, "What did you just say?" My friend, "En français monsieur." He got kicked out of the class. A kid in my math class would sleep on his desk. One day the teacher called on him to answer a problem on the chalkboard. He woke up, solved the problem on the board with zero difficulty, and then just went back to sleep. The teacher repeated the same thing a few times with similar results, and then just let him sleep the rest of the year.